So I will have the interview that I told you today at 1 p.m. Right now is 12:56, so we'll be very soon. And I'm going to record that because I want you guys to be part of it, and I also want to post in the channel. So I have many batteries here in case that one finishes up. I don't believe so. I was using this one and then I just changed for that one. So I think we should be fine. Hello,
Hi, I'm looking for Natalie, please.
it's me. How are you?
Oh, very good. This is Cherie from CBC. Thanks for taking my call.
That's okay, Cherie. No problem.
And so I learned about you, Natalie, because I stumbled upon your YouTube channel, I guess last week. And I watched all your videos, and I just thought I would really be interested to give you a call and find out a little bit about how you ended up here in Corner Brook and about your YouTube channel.
Yes, I hope you don't mind me recording our call. I just want to let you know I'm recording because I might post in our channel after. So I wanted to clarify that first.
Okay. That's funny. I've never actually been recorded for those purposes before.
It's always, I like to do something that's very different from my usual routine. I usually record because it's a new experience for me as an international to be interviewed by a Canadian.
Gotcha. Now, just so you know, in case it makes a difference to you, this isn't like a formal interview or anything like that. It's just a random, I just wanted to get to know you a little bit better.
No, it's okay. No big deal.
Okay. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about how you ended up in Corner Brook.
Yeah, so in kind of February, I would say, end of February, beginning of March, they opened a position in Memorial University in Grenfell, here in Corner Brook. The position was a lab coordinator of what they call berry labs. The boreal ecosystem is in the forest century. And I applied for that job. I never, pandemic happened, and then COVID-19, then closures and all of that. And I never heard anything back from them. So I thought, you know what? I might not get it, so it's fine. Usually, if you don't get it, they don't send anything back to you. So I'd say yes, end of July maybe, end of June, beginning of July. They sent me a request to do an interview. I did an interview. They like me as a profession, and I think they like as well my personality. And then they offered me the job. So I came to be a lab coordinator in Memorial University end of August. So I have been here 2 months now, 2 months and a little bit more.
Okay, so you said as a lab technician coordinator, is that what you said the position's called?
No, technician, that means when a scientist works performing experiments for the students. So you would do analysis for the students. And then a lab coordinator is a person who will manage the labs and the equipment, scheduling, making sure everything is clean, organized, the students have access to what they need. So it's a little bit different, both positions. We actually don't have any technicians in our lab, unfortunately.
Okay. And so what sort of stuff are you doing specifically for Grenfell? You mentioned like scheduling, that sort of stuff for the labs.
Yeah, that's the part of the coordinator. So we do have part of our berry labs are 4 big labs and 1 big facility. And then we work basically with the forest century. So all the agriculture, biology, any research including that will come to us. We do have 3 big labs of more focus in chemistry equipment. And then the other lab coordinator we have, he's a chemist. He's been working for 6 years in the berry labs now. And then I am a molecular biologist, so I'm in charge more of our molecular biology equipments, also organizing, scheduling those, and most of the safety concerns as well, making sure everything is working make sure all the students have the safety courses they need and things like that to make the environment more organized.
Okay. How are you finding it so far?
Well, I have been thinking, I live in Ontario for a year, and then I live in Nova Scotia for 4 years. And both experiences were very different, but since it's Atlantic province, I thought Newfoundland would be very similar to Nova Scotia, and it's actually not. The people here are very different. You guys are usually way more direct and straight to the point than a person like for Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So I'm finding it's interesting how it's different, even though it's a ferry away.
That's interesting. I didn't know that about Newfoundlanders.
Yeah, a lot of people who come here, they have the same concept. They got the same idea about you guys being very honest. And then a lot of people who I have talked said exactly that to me, which some people might find it's not a good thing. Some people have like a little bit of judgment on that part. But in my culture, I'm from Brazil, we are very direct. We are very straight to the point. We don't waste any second going around saying something you don't really want to say. So yeah, I found it's very suitable for my personality and who I am and my background as culture. But can be very intimidating maybe for a person who is very soft.
Yeah. How have you found then the transition from moving from Nova Scotia to here?
Well, it was different because it's here is an island. Nova Scotia is an island too, but it's an island connected to a land. So things get there faster than would get here. So things here would take more time. So that I'm finding a little bit difficult ordering something online, which I usually do even before the pandemic, and then don't get that in a week or couple of days. So that part is being an adjustment, but everything else, well, we got snow today, so I don't know that part as well. But everything else is super awesome. I'm really liking it.
What sort of things have you been doing while you've been here? I saw on your channel that you took a trip to Southern Labrador and going to Bartlett's Point.
Yes, I love it. I went to St. Anthony and it was just so amazing. It was my first time camping by myself. My husband moved here, but he still works in Nova Scotia, so he spends 2 weeks or 3 weeks there and then a week back here. So most of the time I'm by myself. And then I went, me and my dog there, and it was very different. Like, I really like it. And then we also, when he was here, right in the beginning, we went to the zip linings, so the Grosmorn and the Marble Mountain. And then we went also to the Grosmorn, and we are expecting to do some snowmobiling once the winter is here. So I'm excited for that, for sure. I don't know. I live in Sault Ste. Marie before, and the snowfall you guys have here in Corner Brook, it's equivalent to the snowfalls in Sault Ste. Marie. So that will not be a huge impact for me because I know what to expect. But when I came to Sault Ste. Marie, I was an exchange student. I was like 22 years old, so I didn't drive. I didn't have my own house. So will be a different experience on that sense, that I will need to drive in the road conditions I don't really know how will be and things like that.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of getting used to for sure.
Yes.
Driving in the snow. I find even people here in this province, it takes like a couple weeks into a couple of the first snows before people kind of remember, oh right, I have to adjust the way I'm driving.
Yeah, a lot of people make me feel, a lot of people who I have talked, I don't think it's intentionally, but they made me feel very apprehensive, being very nervous about, oh my God, what I'm experiencing, and I will be stuck where I live, and then I'm not going to be able to go to Corner Brook, because right now I'm living in Meadows, so I'm not living in Corner Brook City.
Oh, you live in Meadows?
Yes.
I grew up in Meadows.
Oh, I love it here. It's so unbelievable. I got this cottage. It was listed on Airbnb website. Then I messaged the owner and I said to her, I'm looking for a place for myself that I could stay the whole winter and maybe the summer. And I want to know if you are interested in just renting to one person instead of Airbnb it for, I don't know if it was good, the business or not because of the pandemic. But she was, okay, yeah, let's meet and then we can figure it out. So she showed me 2 properties she has, and then I decided to get this one I'm in. It's a huge house for myself. It's like enormous. But I really like to be by myself and then don't have, I don't know, noises and things like that usually when I'm resting. So I'm liking more the experience of Corner Brook now that I live in Meadows.
Oh, that's really interesting. So where are you in Meadows?
So I am, my street doesn't show in the Google Maps. It's called Pioneer Avenue. So it's right after the Marina Driver. So the Marina Drive, when you come to Meadows, you go like up, down, up and down, up and down. And then you have this Meadows viewpoint. There is a sign saying Meadows viewpoint. Then you go up to the hill. That's the Marine Drive. I am the second street after that.
Oh, okay.
And I'm very close to the ocean too. The property goes all the way to the ocean. I have not been there yet, but next summer maybe.
Oh, okay. Like I grew up in Meadows. My parents are still there. My grandparents and all my aunts and uncles. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
I love it here. A lot of people told me, oh my God, you drive like 30 minutes. And I was like, well, in Halifax, I was driving 40 minutes and I live in the city. So 30 minutes is no big deal.
Yeah, no, you get used to it.
Yeah.
It's just part of your planning in your day.
Yes, you need to wake up a little bit early. Now the winter will be maybe a little bit earlier than that earlier. So I don't know.
And you mentioned about your husband splitting his time between Corner Brook and Nova Scotia?
Yes, he decided to move here with me. But then we sold our house there. We had a house, our first house in Eastern Passage. We got it like 2-3 years ago. Then when I got this job, we made the decision of selling it and then really moving here. Because he also has a PhD, and then it's easier for him to try to find a position here than would be for me going back there. And it's there is more people, so, and then a lot of internationals also choose Nova Scotia because of the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program to become a permanent resident. And then the conditions are not so wild. You don't have a lot of snow. The winter is very, very mild. So you got a lot of competition there. And here, there is competition, of course, but it's not the first choice of an international person usually. So then we decided, you know what, let's do it. So he decided to come, but then in the financial part of it, for us, didn't make sense. He quit his job. He would quit his job, would have his, not income coming in, and then it would make just harder for us to save money and buy our second house. So then it was a very mind-related decision. So he kept his job. He can do a lot of online work. Most of the work he does is online now. But he still needs to go there eventually, have meetings and things like that in person. So yeah, that's part of the deal. It's okay.
So what is it that he does then?
He is a CTO of Graphite Innovation and Technology. It's a company that does marine coating. So when he did his PhD, there was a methodology to produce graphene, what is like a subproduct of graphite. So we call graphene here. And then he came up with this methodology. He patented the methodology of producing this graphene. And then with his professors, all good willing actually, the professor set up a meeting with him and said, you know what, you got the hardest part was actually producing this. You patent this procedure, so you should actually try to find an application for it. And then he found a lot of companies interested in marine coatings that are environmental friendly, so would not leak, heavy metals to the ocean, would not kill any algae and things like that. It's just, you want the algae to don't attach it, but doesn't mean you want to kill it. So he had been working with that for some time, and then he decided to have a startup company. So with a lot of help and a lot of the government help as well, he got his startup going, and then he is the CTO of his own startup company.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah, that's he is a very unique person too. He's also Brazilian, and he also came in 2012 with me for the exchange program. So we have been this path of going around and then trying to find what we really want to do. And I do believe he found his true passion. In a sense, I would say.
Wow, well, he's certainly very lucky. Not everybody gets to say that they've done that.
Yeah, he's very proud, and the whole family is also very proud that he, was not an easy path for him. For me, it was more a straightforward. So I finished my graduate studies, and then I got a job, and I have been progressing in my jobs until I got to this position I am today. So in a sense, it was a straightforward, more like easygoing type of path than for him. For him was doing the graduate studies while having a startup company, and then focus on the startup company to make sure it grows and becomes a real company. So and that's the main point. He doesn't just want to give up and does quit the job and quit the company. He wants to be secure first. So he has been thinking about what he will be doing, but mostly it's part online, part in person now.
So I guess ultimately the hope would be that he could be pretty location independent to run the company.
Yeah, for him, I think we do have kind of the same issues here, right? We are still working with a lot of ocean. We have a lot of ships around here. We have the Marine Institute. That's a big deal in St. John's. So I do believe his main goal would be bringing his company over, maybe affiliation of the company, maybe the main company and leave affiliation there. But I do believe he doesn't want to give up or try to make a very good partnership with the university and then work mainly in the university, but don't give up of this dream of having like a health ocean environment. So yeah, he's being a little bit under pressure now because I want him to come and be here with me 100% of the time, and then in the same time he has this passion and dream, and which I understand, but it's difficult.
Sure. Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, I've watched all your YouTube videos from let's get the name right now, Canadian Immigrant Life.
Yes.
So maybe tell me a little bit about why you chose to start this and why you decided to be so open and honest in your videos.
I think I should mention to you, I also have another one. I have a channel that started in 2016. It's up in Portuguese, so it's also about immigration. But I don't share my experience that much. I mostly share things that you should be careful about when you apply for doing your English and things like that. English schools with those consultants, immigration consultants, and things that, as an international, sometimes you believe in people and it's not 100% true. So it's more about all the requisites and prerequisites of you coming to study or stay here, but it's all in Portuguese. So its main focus on Brazilian people or even like Portuguese people who want to come and do grad studies here. And then with that, I have been like working very hard on that channel for some time, but I never felt I wanted to share the bad things about it because I wanted to encourage people to come. And say to them, doesn't matter how hard is worth it. So I felt maybe last year, and that was when I began to have the second channel, and then it was with my name first, and then I changed this year for the Canadian Immigration Life, because mainly I'm talking about that. I'm talking about my own experience in Canada as an immigrant, and so I decided to have this channel in Portuguese. And then have the one that you found out in English, because then I can, I cannot just focus in Brazilian people. I can focus in all international that are here or that want to be here, and then being open and honest about, yes, I love being here. I think out of the countries I could choose, I chose the best one to live. It's safe, it's secure. There is so much of this independency thing going on about you raising your own kids. You can do things. There is so much help around you. People are super super friendly. They if they can give you food because they see you are struggling, with your daily basis, they will cook for you and they will bring you the dish to your home. So things like that I don't think you can find in England or United States or any other those big immigration countries. So I don't want to discourage people to come, but I want them to know when you come, you are going to have this culture shock. And depending on where you go, if it's a small city or like it's even in a province like this one we live in today, in Newfoundland, you have Cornerbrook as the second biggest city in the province. So people here are used to have international people around. Maybe not as much as it would be, for example, in Halifax, but they will understand. They will have a procedure. They will have, okay, I was even talking about that today with my mom. And then she was saying to me how hard it was for me to get my motorcycle transfer, my license transfer here. I was like, well, mom, the thing is, the whole system was built years ago, and it was not included in the way that they set up the system. They didn't include, okay, if international comes, right, what should the system be like? So there is this way of going, and everybody's treating this way. But once you don't fit, it becomes a little bit harder, because the system, for example, for the motorcycle one, getting your drive license, you can go and do the safety course, which I encourage everybody to do. It's pretty good, like to understand the signals, the roads, and the mind of people who are driving as well. But then you can drive for 30 days to practice before you do your road test. And then in your road test, you should have your motorcycle with insurance already. Which, if you think about it, a normal Canadian household, yeah, your kid, 16 years old, is doing the safety course. Of course, you're going to lend the motorcycle for him, He will ride one of your motorcycle, you will ride the other one on his side, and then he can feel confident after the safety training for 30 days. Then you besides of having those daily challenges, that is the rest of it is missing. Everybody is having this, you are not even eating properly because you couldn't find yet where you can buy your ingredients, or how they call in English, because they will be different, right? The biggest one for me I found for ingredients is if you get the flour and then you get a Brazilian recipe to do a bread, it will take twice as much flour in Brazil than would take here to bake a bread. So that's an adaptation you are going to go through for every single recipe you try to do as well. So that's my motivation about doing the channel is, you know what, those are the challenges. You will face it. Or if you are facing those challenges, you are not alone. So many other internationals are in the same boat than you. But it's okay. We'll get better, you adapt, will be less hard, and it's worth it. But, being aware of the challenges is easier than just arrive and then, oh my God, what I do now.
And have you had much feedback from people who have seen your videos?
I got a lot of people who are subscribed to my other channel leaving me comments of encouragement for in this channel, which is pretty fun. But I got people who I don't know, other immigrants maybe from other parts, I don't know even if from Canada, but then I got comments like, you were facing this because they are stupid, That's a white supremacy, and you should make them your slaves. So then that's another type of harassment. I cannot face a harassment in my daily basis. I need to fight the harassment, I need to fight the difficulties, but I don't feel being the same way or being, rude or harass Canadian people will help the issue. No, will help us to talk about it and then come up with a thing or a plan or a procedure or a step by step where you give it to internationals when they arrive so they know how to get your license, how to get your ID, how to get your MCP card, things like very simple that will help out. But saying the opposite, so it's like an opposite type of hate, then that doesn't help really. So I got some bad comments in the channel, not about what I'm saying, but more about, oh, you are suffering because they are not good people. No, actually not. I'm suffering because I'm from another culture and I'm coming to this culture, and there is an adjustment, and it's okay. But a person, for example, from the drive license, they didn't do that on purpose. They just are trying to follow the procedure that they have been doing for 30, 40, 50 years. So it's not on purpose that somebody will make me feel uncomfortable. Most of the time, like 99% of the time, it's not on purpose. So I don't want to make anybody feel bad about it, That's not the main point. So I got some feedback, but not that I can agree with all of them. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's I got some things with a wrong perception, I think.
In your videos, besides you sharing some of the struggles that you've been going through adapting to life in Canada, you also do just kind of like slice of everyday life sort of thing, like when you're doing your fitness routines that you've started, like to share those videos, or your time-lapse videos of driving around town or going for a walk in the park. So just kind of like to give people a different kind of immersive feel for what your day-to-day life is like.
Yeah, because I feel if I only would post, let's say, controversial posts or maybe, a discussion or my strugglings, the person would, watch some, maybe 2, 3 of them, and then they would feel, wow, she suffers a lot. Why she doesn't leave, right? Why she doesn't go back to Brazil if she doesn't like it? But that again it's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to bring awareness to other immigrants that those are the challenges they will face, and then bring awareness to them that, that's the daily life. I'm leaving, for example, I'm doing a video that took me some time because I needed to organize where I'm leaving to make a nice video. But I'm doing one explaining that I live in this cottage house by myself. It's the last house of the street, and I feel 100% safe. I don't have gates. I don't have screens, like metal screens in my windows, and I feel safe. I know if a car will come down here and then park in front of my house, I know my neighbor would be watching and thinking, okay, maybe she got a visit, or maybe somebody came here. The community pays attention to it. So this video, I'm trying to show them as well that each immigrant will choose to be here for a reason. For me, is the safety. That's the most important one. That's why I came in the first place. And that's why I came to stay. Because in Brazil, as a woman, you never feel safe. You are in your house with huge gates, with metal screens, with all of that, but you still feel unsafe. I would never live by myself in a house like this one in Brazil, ever. So those are the things I also wanted to share, Bring awareness, but then bring the reason why I choose every day to stay here. Why I decided to be away from my parents, to my grandparents, to other people that think most likely like you, like me, and I still decided to stay because it's worth it. I believe in my own truth that is worth it. So that's why I kind of intercalate a little bit. because I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. And it's very hard when you try to do something online, because you never know if your message, the way you want to present, if that's the same way that the person will receive it. So it's that part is an online issue type of thing. It's like complicated, but I try to show the real life, like in a day-to-day basis, the struggles, the nice things, the cafes we have around, how the city is beautiful, how the surround is beautiful, things like that.
Where is it that you're from in Brazil?
I'm from the south. The last state we have that is called Rio Grande do Sul. It's the last one. So we do have winters. We do have 1 or 2 days of snow every year, and then in some specific cities, but we get like -10. So we do have it. A lot of people who know something about Brazil, usually they know things about the Rio de Janeiro or maybe São Paulo, and they know about being hot all year around and being nice beaches. But we also have other states. It's a big country like Canada. Instead of being horizontal, it's a vertical length, kind of big. And we do have diversity too. So I'm from the south. And then if you ever speak...
Is it a city or is it like a small town?
It's a small town. It's like here, it's like Corner Brook. The name of my city is Itaqui. It's very, very small. We have 35,000 people, but it's considered extremely small in Brazil because the cities are so big. And then, but was very similar. The community was nice as here. Being from a small town is kind of similar anywhere you go, I believe. My two experiences are Canada and Brazil, but the cities, the people have more like a person-to-person connection than big cities. So maybe that's the reason I like Meadows very much. I don't know.
Well, Meadows is certainly much
yeah.
than where you grew up, no doubt.
Yeah.
Have your parents had a chance to visit you guys here in Canada?
Yes, they used to come every single summer and stay with us for 3 months. But then this summer, they had planned to come in April, and then our borders got closed a week before they actually came. So then we just needed to cancel, and then we are waiting to book again once things get a little bit more settled. Because I also, like, they are from a small city, so they don't have a lot of cases. But if they would be traveling internationally, they would need to go for the international airport of São Paulo, which is one of the states we most have cases. And the cases in Brazil, in big cities, are exactly like United States. People really don't care, don't use a mask, The places stay open, the restaurants and everything. So I don't want them to get exposed. I want them to wait. And then when they think, okay, I think it's better, or at least a little bit better, then they could come.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I know what I was going to ask. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No, I'm the only child.
And what about your husband?
He has one brother, an older brother. We are not from a big family.
No. So what else do you have in mind for your YouTube channel for the next little bit?
Well, this divide, I have always been divided by the two channels, and what I wanted to incorporate in two of them. It's a little bit different content, but I also wanted to bring accessible to everybody in every language that I can speak. But my next one will be a little bit more not about Canada or Brazil, but more about the world and the vision of the people have it. I'm doing an online yoga teacher training. It's a meditation and yoga teacher training, and I'm finding I'm divided between two realities. One of being a scientist, a lab manager, and then the other one of being interested in mindful yoga, meditation. I am part of both communities, and then when And when I talk about yoga with my yoga community, I usually don't mention what I work, what I do in my daily basis, or what is my background from my bachelor, my master, all my graduate studies. I don't mention that because I feel I would be a little bit judged. And then when I'm in my research field with my people, with other scientists, I also don't mention anything about yoga and meditation because I feel they would judge. So it's interesting how I'm in this halfway from one side and halfway to another, and I would never would give up of one or the other. I love being a scientist, and I love practicing my yoga and share that with people. So I think we'll go to that direction a little bit more as I go towards this, finishing my course, and then maybe teaching some yoga as well, because there is some kind of misconception of people who do yoga are not successful as a capitalist type of view, and people who are successful in this have a good job, have a good house, have a good car. They cannot be mindful, they cannot be aware, they cannot be spiritual awakened, which is very, I don't think it's a right way of thinking. So that's why I'm part of both, I believe. But that's going to be the next steps of the channel. Yeah.
And you also feel like you're straddling both worlds, like two worlds as a Canadian and as a Brazilian woman, by the sounds of it as well.
Yeah, so I have been doing meditation with a Brazilian school, and I have been doing my yoga with a Canadian school. And then I thought, I started my meditation training before, and then after that I started my yoga teacher training. And then I thought first was, the Brazilian community, I have been away for so long, they might have this new judgment thing coming up, and I don't know, like, you don't really feel part of that culture if you leave and stay away from so many years. And then when I started my yoga teacher training, I felt exactly the same way. And they are two totally different communities. They are two different countries from two different languages, from two different backgrounds. And they have the same judgment. And I was like, how interesting is that? It's part of being mindful. It's part of being this new awakening community. If you are part of that, you cannot be a social independent, economically independent person. You cannot wish to buy a house and a cottage and have a car and then have vacation every year. It's wrong if you want those things, which doesn't make sense in my way of viewing it. So yeah, I would say both cultures have very big judgment about it. Yeah.
And Natalie, when people say that they're interested in moving to a different country, whether it's like moving to Canada or I suppose elsewhere, like what are some of the the best advice that you have to give to people?
Well, the biggest one is be open. Because once you get to a country, let's say when I came to Canada, from the beginning it's different. When I stay in a host parent's house. So when my host parents came to pick me up in the airport, in Brazil, the first thing you do to welcome somebody to your home is giving them a hug. Because that means I am open to receive you to my home, and you will be part of my family. That's the whole meaning. It's like a big thing for us to hug. And here, people don't hug. They hug you, your kids or your friends, like very, very close friends, your parents, but it's not a hug type of culture. So once you get to a new country, you need to be open and don't judge. If the person, for example, doesn't hug you, doesn't mean they are not welcoming you. Just means the way of welcoming you is different. So being open is the main character, and you need to be open all the time. Doesn't matter how many years you live in that country, because maybe will be less challengeful, but will be challengeful either way. So be open, don't judge, and ask people questions. That's very important too. For example, the toilet paper goes to the toilet instead to a garbage bin. And in Brazil, in most of the South America, and even India, we don't put in the sewer system because it's not going to be able to hold it. So people put in a bin. So before you even think about it, it's like why you are doing that, ask it. Okay, should I take my shoes off when I come inside the house? Like that's what you expect from me? Should I put my toilet paper in the toilet? Ask it. There is no stupid question here. When you are moving to a new culture with a new country, there is no stupid questions at all. Every single question is valid because you are learning. And don't be afraid. That would be another thing. For me, it took, I would say, maybe 3 years. Yes, 3 big years to feel confident enough in my English to be able to go to the supermarket and then into the supermarket ask it, okay, you know what? I want 200 grams of cooked ham. It's a very simple thing, and you feel like why she couldn't ask that, because I didn't feel confident enough in my English. And then the cooked ham, the normal cooked ham, that's not maple ham, that's not any bacon ham or any flavor ham, that's never sliced or shaved and left away in the counter. Never. You always need to go and ask it, and that's the one I used to eat. I always eat. I cook with that. It's like my main thing about ham is the normal, just cooked ham. And then took me so many years to, okay, you know what, I want 200 grams, split in 2 different containers, please. Simple, very simple. I was able to speak English after the first year here, the same English I speak today. So, it's not a broken English. I can speak, people can understand. But it's a confident, you need to feel confident. It's a confidence part of things. So don't be afraid is also a big thing.
So did you learn English in Brazil, or did you pick it up, did you only learn since you moved to Canada?
Yes, I learned when I was 22 years old. I came, my host parents came to pick me up in the airport, me and 3 other Brazilian girls. The other Brazilian girls would speak a little bit better, like they would understand at least. I was not able to speak or understand. Nothing. 0.
Wow.
So they picked me up. They were like this nicest couple. They still alive, thank God. And I still have them on my Facebook, and I still share a lot with them about my, daily life, especially now that I moved here. They were very excited. But they are super nice, but it was just impossible for us to understand each other. It was so hard. And then 2012, 2012 was not, I don't know, was not as easy as, having the Google Translator in your smartphone. Was available, but was not, that common thing, that normal, easy. So took us some months. I did 4 months of intensive English. And then after the 4 months, I was able to say sentence, I want something, point to the thing. Sometimes I didn't get a lot of vocabulary. Or maybe express myself a little bit better in the sense that, I'm not happy about this thing that's happening here. But I was not able to formulate a whole thought and speak like I speak today. So after those 4 months, they graduate us, all of us, from the course. And I was like, well, I don't feel like I'm a graduated person. I was not able to speak, So then I decided, I went online, and there are many websites and videos and things like that. But one that helped me a lot was printing 100 verbs, English verbs. Because if you know the verbs, that's another important thing. Know the verbs. You don't need to know anything else. The verbs are the most important ones, because they are the main connector in your sentence. The pronouns, the subjects, or the objects, all of that you can point. But the verb of what you are trying to say, you cannot point or draw. So you need to be able to say those. So I print 100 of them with the way I'm supposed to say them, past and present sentence of their verb, the 2 variations, and what they mean. And then I put on my wall in my bedroom, and I would sit, and then I would read each of them one by one. Then after a while, since they were in the same position, and I would do that several times of the day, I was able to recite them I was sitting, with my back facing them and then looking to the window, and I would say them back again in the exactly same order for a long time. So those next 4 months I did that. I also helped in the cafeteria of the university, and I did another pronunciation and another grammar course extra from my graduation program. And then after the 8 months, I was able to speak finally. But then after I start speaking, my host parents said I never stop it. And then I still like speaking a lot every day today. So oh my God, it was such a hard thing for me. But then I overcame that, thank God. But it was not easy.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you speak other languages besides Portuguese and English?
Well, I don't speak Spanish because I have, I don't know, I was able to fluent speak Spanish before learning English. Then I learned English and I lost my ability of speaking Spanish. But I can fully understand, I just cannot speak back. And then if I do speak back, I need to think about it, put together a sentence, and then say the sentence. So it takes so long to even, sometimes it's easier for me if I try in Portuguese or if I just try in English. Most of people know English, so maybe that's why I lost so much of my Spanish. But those are my 3 languages. I wish I could speak Italian or French, but I don't.
And was it in Sault Ste. Marie that you took those English classes?
Yes, I did in Algoma University. So I did 4 months and 2 extra courses of English, then 4 months of courses in biology. That was part of the program I came. They were an integrated program. So you did your English, you graduate from that, and then you take university courses. And then in your summer, you did a kind of co-op, which was a research project to set up with a supervisor, a researcher that worked in the university with a university biology lab, in my case, because I was biology. And then you work in that project for the next 4 months. So it was 1 full year, and then separating different approaches. And then you could get 1 month maybe in between for transitioning.
Oh, wow.
I liked the program very much. It was very structured. And that helped for example, people like me that want to do a co-op program, want to have, a research, but also needed to learn English before. So in that sense, I really like it. There is a video I wanted to do about the experience, like starting over, from the beginning. 22 years old, you have experienced a lot in your own life already, but, start from the zero was not easy either. But I love the program. Most of people from the international, they had like an international advisor committee. Everybody was very helpful and welcome as well. So, for example, for me, when I graduated, I went to the international coordinator and I told her, well, her name is Hannah. She still works there. And I told her, I can't speak Hannah. You know that. I was not even able to say that as I am saying today. I want to do other courses, like I need to do pronunciation and grammar at least. And then she was like, okay, let's put these 2 as your curricular courses, and then you choose extra 2 of your university courses. And then that will come up as a 4, because we are supposed to take 4 full courses in the academia as well. So then she was able to, help me out, and we counted all these 4 as 4 university courses in the end, but was very helpful.
Natalie, it's been so lovely to talk to you and get to know you. Would love to be able to pick this conversation up again at another time. Unfortunately, I do have to run, but if I drop you a line sometime, do you think you'd be open for another chat with me?
Yes, no problem. Just let me know.
Wonderful. Well, I really appreciate this. You take care.
You take care too, Cherie. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.